Please sit. Whatever prayer posture we normally adopt, I invite you to do so as we go to God in prayer. Let us pray. God of life and love, we acknowledge your sovereignty and your supremacy over the created order. We praise you for the many gifts you continue to bestow upon us, and how you continue to make yourself known to us through those gifts. For the gift of life and a new day, for the gift of health, sufficient enough to be here today, for the gift of our country, with its symbols and signs that tell the story of our fashioning as a people, for the gift of the people of this country, and yea, for the gift of each other. We praise you. Gathered as we are in this space, we ask that you accept our gratitude, O God, for our judiciary, for their continued role in strengthening and sustaining key pillars of our nation. We thank you for their inspiring legacy of sound judgments, sure-footed decisions, which are matched by a steely and unimpeachable resolve to justice and the truth. Today, we place before you those who are being blessed with the gift and opportunity of doing even more in the service of their country. Grant them the resources and virtues needed to faithfully discharge their responsibilities. Disclose yourself to them in ways that will lift them up when they are down, that will strengthen them when they are weak, that will energize them when they are tired, and comfort them when they are downhearted. And, O Lord, disclose yourself and guide them when they are uncertain. Creator, Redeemer, Sustainer God, hear our prayer and bless us all together. Amen.
Thank you for that prayer, Reverend Carl Johnson, pastor of the Filippo Baptist Church. His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, Governor General, the Honorable Mr. Justice Sykes, Chief Justice, the Honorable Mr. Justice Brooks, President of the Court of Appeal, members of the Judiciary, judges designates, ladies and gentlemen, viewers joining us on various online platforms, good morning. Good morning. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Roger Danvers, the Press Secretary to His Excellency the Governor General, and I have the pleasure of moderating this morning. I will now invite His Excellency the Governor General to address us. After the Governor General's address, I will invite Major Dwayne Hill, who will read the instruments of appointment. The Governor General will then invite each judge to take and subscribe the oath of allegiance and the judicial oath. His Excellency.
Honorable Chief Justice, Honorable President of the Court of Appeal, honorable members of the judiciary, especially our judges who are going to be sworn this morning in your respective positions. Ladies and gentlemen, I also would wish to recognize the Reverend Carl Johnson, who offered prayers this morning, such a distinguished way and such deep and powerful words expressed to God on our behalf, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, and those, especially those viewing online, we welcome you this morning to the swearing in of judges who have been serving in the courts for some time, but this morning they're going to be assuming some other responsibilities. Mostly, I noticed that this morning we have judges who are going to be acting in certain capacities. And so we realize that the Chief Justice has given some other judges time to go off and get some rest, which I'm sure they so well deserve. And others are stepping in to carry out those responsibilities. Such is the organized ways in which the judges function as they give leadership in the judiciary and to our country. I want to take the pleasure this morning to recognize those individuals who are now going to be acting and express my congratulations to each one of you. Acting as a judge of appeal will be the Honorable Mr. Justice Kisok Leng and the Honorable Mrs. Justice Georgiana Fraser. Acting puisne judges, Master Stephanie Orr, Master Pamela Mason, Her Honor Miss Opal Smith, Her Honor Mrs. Tracy Ann Johnson, Mrs. Sharon Millwood Moore, and acting masters in chambers, Her Honor Mrs. Luciana Jackson, and Her Honor Miss Catherine McNeil. Miss Christine. Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll also like Catherine. Congratulations to each one of you, and I wish you a very successful term in your respective positions. We know you have done well over the past whenever you act, and we are confident that you will do equally well during this term. God bless you.
To the Honorable Mr. Justice Kisok Christopher St. Elmo Leng, the Honorable Mrs. Justice Georgiana Jacqueline Fraser, greetings. Whereas subsection 2 of section 105 of the Constitution of Jamaica provides that acting judges of the Court of Appeal shall be appointed by the Governor General by instrument under the broad seal on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission. And whereas the Honorable Mrs. Justice Marva McDonald Bishop and the Honorable Miss Justice Paulette Williams have been granted vacation leave respectively. And whereas the Judicial Service Commission has advised that you, Kisok Christopher St. Elmo Leng and Georgiana Jacqueline Fraser, should be appointed to act as judges of the Court of Appeal. Now, therefore, know ye that I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, reposing full trust in your zeal, ability, and discretion, do hereby, in exercise of the power vested in me by the Constitution of Jamaica, appoint you, the said Kisok Christopher St. Elmo Leng and Georgiana Jacqueline Fraser, to act as judges of the Court of Appeal for the purposes of the Constitution of Jamaica during the period from the 25th of September 2023 to the 20th December 2023, given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House this 18th day of September in the year of our Lord 2023, and the second year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
I, Kisok Christopher St. Elmo Leng, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. So help me God. I, Kisok Christopher St. Elmo Leng, do swear that I will faithfully and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of Judge of the Court of Appeal, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
I, Georgiana Jacqueline Fraser, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Georgiana Jacqueline Fraser, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of Judge of the Court of Appeal, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
To Miss Stephanie Cavell Orr, Miss Pamela Margot Mason, Her Honor Miss Opal Shauna Marie Smith, Her Honor, Mrs. Tracy Ann Latoya Johnson, Mrs. Sharon Annette Millwood Moore, greetings. Whereas subsection 2 of section 99 of the Constitution of Jamaica provides that acting puisne judges shall be appointed by the Governor General by instrument under the broad seal on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission. And whereas the Honorable Mrs. Justice Carolyn Ty Powell has been granted vacation leave, the Honorable Mr. Justice Kisok Leng, acting in a higher post, the Honorable Miss Justice Yvonne Brown and the Honorable Mrs. Justice Natalie Hart-Hines have been granted vacation leave, and where a vacancy has arisen, and whereas the Judicial Service Commission has advised that you, Stephanie Cavell Orr, Pamela Margot Mason, Opal Shauna Marie Smith, Tracy Ann Latoya Johnson, and Sharon Annette Millwood Moore should be appointed to act as puisne judges. Now therefore, know ye that I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, reposing full trust in your zeal, ability, and discretion, do hereby, in exercise of the power vested in me by the Constitution of Jamaica, appoint you, the said Stephanie Cavell Orr, Pamela Margot Mason, Opal Shauna Marie Smith, Tracy Ann Latoya Johnson, and Sharon Annette Millwood Moore to act as puisne judges for the purposes of the Constitution of Jamaica during the period from the 25th September 2023 to the 20th December 2023, given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House this 18th day of September in the year of our Lord 2023 and the second year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
I, Stephanie Cavell Orr, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. So help me God. I, Stephanie Cavell Orr, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of puisne judge, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
I, Pamela Margot Mason, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Pamela Margot Mason, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of puisne judge, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
I, Opal Shauna Marie Smith, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. So help me God. I, Opal Shawn Marie Smith, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of puisne judge, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
I, Tracy Ann Latoya Johnson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. So help me God. I, Tracy Ann Latoya Johnson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of puisne judge, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
I, Sharon Annette Millwood Moore, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. So help me God. I, Sharon Annette Millwood Moore, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of puisne judge, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
To Her Honor Mrs. Luciana Marie Jackson, Her Honor Miss Christine Markle McNeil, greetings. Whereas pursuant to Section 112 of the Constitution of Jamaica, the Governor General may make appointments to certain offices connected with the courts of Jamaica as may be prescribed by Parliament. And whereas Ms. Pamela Mason and Ms. Stephanie Orr have been appointed to act in higher posts. And whereas the Judicial Service Commission has advised that you, Luciana Marie Jackson, and Christine Markle McNeil should be appointed to act as masters in chambers. Now therefore, know ye that I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, reposing full trust in your zeal, ability, and discretion, do hereby, in exercise of the power vested in me by the Constitution of Jamaica, appoint you, the said Luciana Marie Jackson and Christine Markle McNeil, as masters in chambers with effect from the 9th January 2023 in vacant posts, given under my hand at King's House this 18th day of September in the year of our Lord 2023 and the second reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
I, Luciana Marie Jackson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Luciana Marie Jackson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of Master in Chambers, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
I, Christine Markle McNeil, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. So help me God. I, Christine Markle McNeil, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of Master in Chambers, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and the usages of Jamaica without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Major Dwayne Hill. At this time, I will now invite the Honorable Mr. Justice Brooks, President of the Court of Appeal, to bring his remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Your Excellency, Most Honorable Sir Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, the Honorable Mr. Justice Brian Sykes, Chief Justice of Jamaica, my lords and ladies of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, both present and online, Reverend Carl Johnson, pastor of the Filippo Baptist Church, judicial officers who have been sworn in this morning, and their families and friends, staff of King's House, representatives of the Court Administration Division, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all, good morning. Your Excellency, I hope that you and the staff of King's House never tire of these ceremonies. We know that it takes a lot of effort, takes time and planning, but we appreciate the effort. We appreciate all that you have done to bring these officers from time to time for the service of the country. Thanks again. Thanks too for your very kind words this morning, encouragement to those who have been sworn in. Please allow me, Your Excellency, to also congratulate the judges who have been sworn in this morning. We wish to, I don't want to steal the Honorable Chief Justice's thunder, but I want to specially mention two of the judicial officers who have been sworn in, Your Excellency. The first is the Honorable Mrs. Justice Millwood Moore, and this is because her father and I studied at Cave Hill from back in the day. He was a year ahead of me, but we've gone through many years together. I also want to specially mention her Master Christine McNeil, who she and I worked together at the Court of Appeal when she was a judicial clerk. And in those days, Your Excellency, there were only 2 judicial clerks, unlike the present situation where we have 13. So judges had to work closely with judicial clerks in those days. And she was more than helpful in terms of getting the judgments done, corrected, and published. Those two officers, Your Excellency, will be serving for the first time, but I wish to assure them both that they have been well prepared for the task, and they will have the help, encouragement of their colleagues in getting the work done. The confidence that has been reposed in all of you is not misplaced, and we know that you will all do well. Your Excellency, as you mentioned earlier, the situation is that judges have had to go on vacation, creating the opportunity for these officers. Unfortunately, a number of the judges who go on vacation have to take work with them, writing judgments and so on. And so I look forward to the day when judges can go off and get the rest and relaxation that vacation is supposed to be. The Honorable Mr. Justice Leng this morning is the person who has first been sworn in to act as a judge of appeal, and the Honorable Mrs. Justice Georgiana Fraser along with him. Your Excellency, both of them have acted before in this post, and we know of their worth, we know of their work, and we know that they will both do well. Your Excellency, Justice Leng has had several acting appointments in the court, and this is because he has proved himself not only as a team player, And that is an essential character for being a judge of the Court of Appeal. But he's also a consistent producer. The learned Chief Justice is an ardent advocate of the principle that everything can be measured. And I can assure him that the measure of Justice Leng's contribution to the court is that for every term that he has been with the court, he has been among the judges who write the most judgments. Justice Leng has a master's degree in information technology and communications law. And so, in addition to his judicial tasks, we have called upon him to use that expertise in the implementation of an e-filing project that the court is about to undertake. The Honorable Mrs. Justice Georgiana Fraser has also had several opportunities to act as a judge of the Court of Appeal, and she has made the most of those opportunities. She has brought a wide range of experiences in law, including that of Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Senior Resident Magistrate, and of course, Judge of the Supreme Court of Judicial of Jamaica, to enhance the performance of the Court of Appeal. Justice Fraser has been known to be a no-nonsense judge. Strong but fair, litigants always leave with the feeling that she has considered their respective positions, even if they don't agree with the outcome. We at the Court of Appeal are very happy that these two judges have been appointed to act, and we welcome them, and we look forward to their continued positive contributions and performance. So, Your Excellency, I wish all these judicial officers all the very best as they take up their respective responsibilities. Those who are to start today will have to start the work running. I understand Ms. Opal Smith has duties at 10 o'clock. So we wish them all the best. And those who start next week, we know that they have already started to prepare. Your Excellency, we at the Court of Appeal are going through an era of change. When the new term starts next week, we will resume in-person hearings at the court as a matter of course. Since the pandemic hit us in March of 2020, we have, for the most part, been hearing cases on the virtual platform. Some people have enjoyed that format, while others have longed for the more direct interaction between bench and bar. We are aware, however, that COVID-19 is still with us, and so we have encouraged our staff and we encourage the visitors to the court to try their best to follow the protocols so that we will all remain as safe as is possible. This term also, Your Excellency, we will commence a pilot project for the e-filing to increase efficiency at the court. This is intended to make life easier for litigants and for their legal representatives. The plan is to train, Your Excellency, the attorneys at law and the relevant officers at the Department of Correctional Services and also the DPP's office and the Attorney General's office to use the judicial case management system so that we can have those persons using the e-filing system and getting accustomed to it. We can work out any kinks that may be in that process and make it suitable for wholesale use. So we look forward to the full implementation of JCMS in short order. We hope that the efficiency and production that we look forward to with the input of Justices Leng and Fraser will help us to achieve those aims. So, Your Excellency and ladies and gentlemen, I want to also thank the team at the Court of Appeal for continued striving for excellence. The Chief Justice and the team at the Court Management Services for Court Administration Division, going back to old days, for their support. One of our judges, Your Excellency, recently had a health scare, and the Chief Justice and the CAD have stepped up to provide the support that she needs. We are looking forward to the quick delivery of the new equipment that she requires for the safe sitting in the court, and we know that they will deliver. Thanks very much, Your Excellency. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Justice Brooks. I now invite Chief Justice, Mr. Justice Sykes, to bring his remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Your Excellency, let me thank you for accommodating us here. An important ceremony, not just for those who are here present, but is an important civic ceremony indicating that the executive and the judiciary intersect at times and in a very necessary and important way. I wish to adopt the order of precedence established by the President of the Court of Appeal, and if you will indulge me, have a personal welcome here to my pastor, the Reverend Carl Johnson from the Filippo Baptist Church. So thank you, sir, for being here this morning. The question of solving the problem posed by the President of the Court of Appeal of judges going on leave without having to do judgments. The solution to it is within our grasp, and what we have to do now is to organize ourselves to get that done, and how we can do that is by looking at, for example, the types of cases that we get in, and you will find that most of the cases, I would say over 90% of the cases that come through the court are important cases for the individuals, but they are not unusual cases. They are not particularly difficult cases in terms of law and facts. And so you have about roughly 5 to 10% of cases that are really challenging cases. So what this really means is that with that kind of information, you can actually have an analytical framework within which you examine those cases. And just let me give a quick example. We know, for example, in the gun court, over 95% of the cases, the issue is identification. And so the law of identification is well developed. And then there was a judgment by Justice Frank Williams, and he set out in the judgment an example of how, for example, in the Court of Appeal, you can manage evidence of that nature, because what he did was what witness X said and measure it against a legal standard, the questions that the law says you have to ask. And at the end of the day, that the evidence is there or it isn't there. And if it is there, how did the judge respond to it? And so for the vast majority of those cases, you can have oral judgments, both there. Similar situation in the parish courts, where over 40% of the cases are assaults and woundings. Again, no earth-shattering law is going to emerge from there, so those cases really shouldn't take a long time to be managed. The critical thing is the fraud cases, those cases that tend to consume a lot of resources, and we really haven't been doing well in terms of managing those cases, because the newspaper reports will tell us that you have at least 1 or 2 of these cases that have been going on for 4 or 5 years. So that needs to be examined. But if we begin to do things like that, we will get to the point where when the judges go on leave, they will actually have no cases to decide while they are there. Now, the judges and judicial officers who have been sworn in this morning, let me congratulate you, and let me hasten to assure you that you are not here because of seniority. So let's be very clear on that. It is not about longevity and surviving longer than the others. The Judicial Services Commission over time has been seeking to give effect to a report done by the Honorable Justice Phillips, Court of Appeal Judge retired, or Judge of Appeal retired. And the question was, how do we give effect to what the recommendations were in that report? So where we are now is that we do essentially two questions. One is the most significant achievement question, MSA, and the other one is the PSQ, the problem-solving question. And so when somebody comes in to the Judicial Services Commission now to be interviewed, in addition to the statutory requirements, 7 years parish judge, 5 years master, 10 years Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, usually you have been practicing somewhere between 15 to 20 years. And so the question then becomes, when you break down your working life into blocks of 3 years, what is the most significant achievement in each of those blocks of years? And so what are we looking for? We are looking for whether persons are performance qualified. That is to say, your work life has demonstrated over time a commitment to hard work, a commitment to excellence. And why do we break down your work life in that way? Because you have to guard against persons who may have a sudden affliction of activity, and that is designed to create the impression that, yes, I am committed and hardworking and so on. But oftentimes when persons are starting out just after law school, the last thing on their mind is, oh, I'm going to be applying to be a Supreme Court judge in 10 years. They want to get themselves established in the profession and so on. And so your character and the characteristics that you have will come out over time. You can't act outside of your character. As Peter Tosh said to an interviewer that a banana tree cannot produce plantains. So it's a similar idea. So what is your most significant achievement in each period of your working life? And believe it or not, it is not something that you can make up, because there are surrounding questions. When? Where? Who? What was your role? Those kinds of things. And the recommendation, we're not yet there, but we're getting there, is that the response to each of those questions is checked. So if you said you work with X, and when you speak to X, the X says who, then you know that there's a problem there, in addition to ethical questions that will arise. But so the thing is, we're moving to the stage now where we're going to be more open with the process of judicial selection. So we have crafted job definitions for the Chief Justice. President of the Court of Appeal has done his. We have done doing it for the masters. We have done it for the Supreme Court judges. And why is this important? Because you are selecting persons to do a job. You are not selecting qualifications. Qualifications don't do the job. It's people who do the job. And so when you decide what the job is, only then you're in a position to decide who you want to do the job. So from that standpoint, seniority only comes in if, for example, in the rare case that you have two candidates and they are equal in all respects, and I suppose seniority may have a role there, but in the normal course of things, that is unlikely to be the case. And you're recruiting persons not just to work as a judge, but in the particular work environment that exists in Jamaica, not in Europe, not in North America, not in Africa, but in Jamaica. That is what we're looking for. And that is how we have been reforming the process. So that was the most significant achievement question. Then the other question is the problem-solving question. So what is that all about? Essentially, you're asked to solve a problem, not a hypothetical, because hypotheticals don't help us one way or the other. A real problem that you're likely to face. And then, of course, if you have been around for some time, which you usually are by the time you get to this stage, you're asked, well, give us something from your past that closely approximates the problem here that we have that you'll be asked to solve. And then we look at that. And so that is essentially it. So so you're actually here on merit. And so what I will say to you is this, as the Apostle Paul said to Timothy, do not let persons despise you because of your youth. So it is not a question of how young you are or how old you are, but whether you are performance qualified. And why is this important? The President told us about it, certainly in the qualities that he spoke of with regard to Justice Lang and Justice Georgiana Fraser. So though he didn't use the same language, but what the President was saying was that these two judges are performance qualified to assist the Court of Appeal in getting rid of the backlog, because the Court of Appeal is now clearing its backlog since it is disposing of more cases than cases coming in. And so it is important then to have judges in the Court of Appeal who can sustain and improve that and take us towards the day when all our courts will be backlog free. So the Supreme Court is becoming more efficient, at a 52% improvement last year. And so the judges who are here are expected to continue that trend and so take us to the finish line, which is a backlog-free Supreme Court. So we are just about 29% off from where we need to be. And so looking at the energetic persons that we have here, we have no doubt that we will get there, Your Excellency. And a number of them, in fact, all of them except Mrs. Millwood Moore, have come from the parish courts. And, you know, the Minister of National Security, no, Minister of Justice said one of the things we seem to dislike in Jamaica is success. We seem to have a problem with being successful. But let me say, Your Excellency, that other than Mrs. Millwood Moore, the other 4 judicial officers have contributed significantly to the success in the parish court, and the parish courts are now officially backlog free. And that is something we should be proud of 2 years ahead of time, and you can give yourselves a round of applause. And by that we mean that the courts generally and each parish court individually, the active caseload is now, the case in backlog, the active caseload is now under 3%. That exceeds international standard by 2%. There are no other courts in the region, not in the Caribbean, not in Central America, not in South America, that have achieved that for courts at that level. And so that has placed us in a position now to revise the time standard downwards, because at 6 years of data telling us that 77% of the cases in the parish courts are disposed of in under 12 months. So where we're heading now is to bring that down to 9 months, and it is doable. Why do we know that it is doable? Because when you look at the statistics overall, it tells you, Your Excellency, that there is a 2-hour period in the day that the courts are not sitting, because the data tells us that the courtroom utilization is just about 63%. Some courts are at 70 and 80, which means that they pull the average up, which means that a number of courts are not making it to 1 o'clock. That's what that means. So what it means that you now have roughly 2.5 hours in the day in which more of our citizens can be accommodated, so those cases can be brought forward so that we reduce the delay, because that's the whole point of this, It's about improving service delivery, reducing the delay and the time that citizens have to wait for justice. And if we do that, then we will not just become one of the best in the Caribbean, but one of the best in the world, because we are not far off from the OECD countries, where they are down to roughly 6 months from filing to final disposition. We are at just under 12 months, so we are not far off. So if we utilize the days fully and completely, then we'll get there in short order. And that is why the process of selection of judicial officers is important, because all the administrative work that goes on in the court is designed to support the adjudicatory process, whether you're a parish judge, whether you're a master, whether you're a judge of the Supreme Court or a judge of the Court of Appeal. And so that is why you are all here to continue the work that has begun. And I wish to close by thanking the relatives. Some may be watching on YouTube or any other platform. Let me thank you for the support that you have given to persons who are here, to enable them to put in the performance over their careers that has enabled them to get to this point. The sleepless nights, the busy weekends, the training sessions, all of those things combined have contributed to them being here. So I wish to thank the mothers, the fathers, the spouses, the sisters, the uncles, the aunties, the grandmothers, all the relatives who contributed to making this day possible. And so Jamaica looks forward to your continued contribution, the contribution that each of you will make to making our legal system to become the best in the Caribbean and one of the best in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Justice Sykes. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now invite the Honorable Mr. Justice Kisak Leng, Acting Judge of Appeal, who will respond on behalf of the judges who have been sworn.
Good morning, everyone. Your Excellency, in the interest of saving time, may I be permitted to adopt the protocol already established in acknowledging the persons who are present in person and viewing virtually. Let me first thank you, Your Excellency, the Honorable Chief Justice and the Honorable President of the Court of Appeal, for your kind words of encouragement. We're also blessed by the uplifting prayer of Reverend Johnson. We appreciate Your Excellency's gracious hospitality, to which we have become accustomed at these events. Your Excellency, at the last swearing-in ceremony in April of this year, you may recall, at least I hope you do, that my response included a rather lengthy, and on reflection, perhaps too lengthy, discussion on artificial intelligence, or AI, and its implications for judges and the process of judging. On that occasion, like today, we were limited to one guest per person. Nevertheless, I was content with the knowledge that the proceedings would be streamed live via the Jamaican Judiciary channel on YouTube, as was then the usual practice. And I encouraged my friends and family members to utilize that facility. At the end of the ceremony, I turned on my phone. My phone did not ring. I double-checked to ensure that I had turned it back on and that it was not in silent mode. It still did not ring. As my teenage niece Jada would say, just crickets. There were no WhatsApp messages. I made a telephone call and discovered that the proceedings were not streamed live, and only those persons who were physically present obtained the benefit of my extensive research. not the wider audience for which it was also intended. Anyway, I said, c'est la vie, opportunity knocks only once. But here we are again. And recently, a colleague of mine who was present on that occasion suggested that I simply edit and recycle that presentation for today. He probably said it in jest, but I thought, what a brilliant idea. Your Excellency, I sense some anxiety in the room from the persons who heard that speech before, but you need not worry, because I slept on it, and when I woke up, I thought, what a terrible idea. Firstly, it would make me appear lazy, and secondly, it would be cruel and unusual punishment to subject Your Excellency and my colleagues to a detailed rehashing of what had previously been said. It would be akin to a sentence of death by AI. So it was back to the drawing board and current events for inspiration. Your Excellency, judges are not expected to live cloistered lives. We should be aware of evolving trends. We are expected to be bold in our decision-making, but in commenting on social issues, we must be restrained and avoid controversy at all costs. I could not avoid noticing the current concern being raised by educators and others that there's a developing subculture that is glamorizing being dunce. However, that term is being construed by the people using it. The counterpoint is that this is merely the latest meaningless fad, which bears no relevance to and will have no negative effect on the performance of students. Your Excellency, I have absolutely no intention of becoming embroiled in that debate or going on a soapbox, but I feel impelled to share a bit of my experience. I was born in what can properly be characterized as a rural village, which is Little London, Westmoreland. It sits between the capital, Savannah-la-Mar, and Negril, or as most Jamaicans would say, country. Growing up, all the older persons with whom I interacted, regardless of their educational background, would frequently inquire as to whether I was doing well in school, and always with the advice, you must study your book, you know. It mattered not whether they were cane cutters, shopkeepers, truck drivers, or tradesmen. There was a singular belief in the power of education and a deep conviction that the path to upward social mobility for most Jamaicans was through formal education, what they colloquially referred to as book learning, or if one was not academically inclined, by acquiring a skill or trade. I posit that that view was correct then and that it remains true today. Education is indeed the great equalizer. It is the thing that allows children, regardless of the socioeconomic status of their parents, from anywhere in Jamaica, even country, or the inner city, to achieve their dreams, and some to become judges, or even the Chief Justice of our beloved country. If belief in the power of education is waning because of pop culture or anything else, eroding our traditional values, or if our students do not fully grasp the implications for them of a hyper-competitive and increasingly shrinking world, then this needs to be addressed. But in any event, and more importantly, we need to arrive at a national consensus that we can and should take additional steps through appropriate economic and social engineering to ensure that Jamaican children, irrespective of where they live, are all given a fair opportunity to fulfill their full potential. I submit that it cannot reasonably be argued that there is anything controversial about this. Your Excellency, it is an immense honor and a privilege for us to be given the opportunity of serving the country in our respective positions. And this view is shared equally by those of us who have previously acted in these positions, as well as by Justice Millwood Moore and Master McNeil, for whom it is their first time at this level. We thank the Judicial Service Commission for the trust and confidence reposed in us by their selections, and we undertake to discharge our duties fairly and diligently in accordance with the oaths we have taken. We will do our utmost best to utilize our intellectual abilities and experience in pursuit of the collective dream we share with the learned Chief Justice of an ecosystem of excellence within the judicial system, and in so doing, make a worthwhile contribution to nation building. Your Excellency, it is customary and fitting that we acknowledge the contribution of the people who have contributed to us being here today, and the learned Chief Justice has already made my task much easier by thanking our parents, siblings, spouses, children, and all other family members, as well as our friends who have supported and continue to support us. We could not have done it without them. Your Excellency, I crave your indulgence and the indulgence of my colleagues to specifically acknowledge my wife Nadine and my mother Laurel, both of whom have contributed in different ways to my being here today. I know that although my mother is proud of me, she would be infinitely prouder if I were a medical doctor. I have tried to convince her that in a Western democratic society such as ours, a judge is at least as important as a medical doctor. But she remains unconvinced. And at a stubborn 88 years of age, I doubt she will change her mind. I don't know if the learned Chief Justice has that debate with Dr. Sykes at home. We are indebted to Jamaicans from all walks of life who advised us to make sure you study a book, or words to that effect, more eloquently stated. And on this occasion, which roughly coincides with the start of the new academic year, it is also fitting that we express our appreciation to all educators, especially those who have helped to shape our lives, starting with our early childhood teachers who helped us to form our first letters on our slates. Your Excellency, I see a puzzled look on the faces of some of my younger colleagues, and I suspect I might be the only one of them who used a slate. And for those of you who are not from that era, it's a tablet. It looks like an iPad, and it's made of a flat, smooth piece of rock, gray rock, which is named slate. Now, the more advanced and sophisticated versions, the version 2.0, that had an abacus attached with colored beads to help you with your counting. And you wrote on it using a special pencil, and you erased it by wiping it, hence the phrase, wipe the slate clean. Our sincerest gratitude to all the teachers at every level who inspired and motivated us, and who in those moments when we lacked confidence said, yes, you can do it, just work harder at it. And when we did our best wasn't good enough, they'd be honest enough to say, we know you love the sciences, but probably maths, physics, and chemistry are not for you. That's not from personal experience, Your Excellency. That's stories I heard. I didn't really like the sciences that much. Your Excellency, we have a long day ahead. And it being the beginning of the term, it only remains for me to thank everyone who is present, as well as those family members, friends, colleagues, and well-wishers who witnessed these proceedings in a virtual space. I will turn on my phone shortly to check at the end of these proceedings. Have a blessed and productive day, everyone. Good morning.
Thank you, Justice Leng, for giving us all a clean slate. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this function. On behalf of His Excellency, the Governor General, I thank you for attending this important ceremony as a mark of your respect and support for the judges who have been sworn and of our judiciary as a whole. Thank you for those who are joining us online, and please have yourself a pleasant day.